Hey, what's up? This is Legendary Beatz here from LegendaryBeatsOnline.com and this YouTube page, LegendaryPromotv. Today we're going to be talking about artist management contracts. So there's a contract between a music artist and a manager, a music manager, whatever you want to call them. So this covers about 11 clauses that you may see in this type of contract, and we're going to go through each one and just give you some details on what you should look out for and how you should protect yourself for each section. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so the first clause is services of the manager. The manager is there to represent you. The manager is there to advise you, direct you in the right direction. The manager is there to exploit your talents in order to get you to the next level in your music career. It also benefits you, and it also benefits the manager himself as well. So pretty much in every aspect, the manager is there to help you out as the music artist. It's their responsibility to take everything that they can, any resources that they know about, their history, their experiences, their knowledge base, whatever it may be, to help you further your career. That's the basic services of the manager that you're going to hire or you're considering to hire. Okay, so this section is the rights and authority of the music manager. So I guess against popular belief, the manager does not have to exclusively only work with you as an artist. They can have other artists under them. They can work with another label. They can work with whoever they would like. It's not an exclusive relationship, which means that they're not only working with you, but there's protection on your end. They still do have to work with you. There's some clauses you may see, some stipulations may be that if the manager does not work with you in a day-to-day type of activity, whatever it may be, for 30 days, then you can go ahead and give that manager a warning that you're gonna fire them and get rid of them. And then you give them an opportunity to kind of redeem themselves. So that protects you with that. Other than that, based on their responsibilities or their rights and authority that they have, is that they have the authority to be your legal representative. They could sign checks for you, they could receive money for you, they can sue for you, they can collect for you, they can do all these things for you on your behalf. But pretty much they do all the things in the background for you that you may not even know that's going on. So they're your face and they're your hands signing paperwork on your behalf. Then their responsibility is to make sure that whatever they're doing is to further push your career to the next level. So that's what you have to look at. Things that you should be concerned about is that know what it is that they're signing, know what it is that they're working on. Of course, they're going to tell you that this is all going to help you, yes, yada, yada, yada. But make sure that you feel comfortable with it. If it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, be sure to talk to them and let them tell you why they're doing that or why they're choosing this avenue instead of another, and why they think it's going to help your career. Ask these questions, because if you just let a manager go ahead and do whatever they want to do, remember that you have to pay them. So whatever services they go and get, whatever services they're going to do, at the end of the day, it's coming out of your paycheck. The manager that you hire, the less money that you get in your pocket, ultimately, from any music that you make, you have to pay your manager. And those are agreements you have to make, we're going to talk about later on. All right, so I touched a little bit about this in the previous clause. This is the clause on the term. Term means how long of a time frame the manager can be your manager. So you can have, ultimately this is something that you see often, but it can be different in your agreement. But usually you'll see something like 2 years, or I'm sorry, 3 years, 2 sets of 3 years that a manager can be your manager. Now, if the manager wants to work with someone else and they no longer want to work with you, they have to tell you 90 days prior to the ending of those 3 years. So this may be different in your contract with your manager. You have to look into it and see if it's different, see what they actually have in there. So that way you will know, and that way you can prepare, and that way you can, know what you have as your responsibility to look forward to if manager does choose to leave you out in the wind. So these are things you have to look at, you have to ask about. Make sure you sit down with your manager and have a lawyer or someone who knows about this sit down with you and look over the contract with you so you're not getting the short end of the stick. Okay, so now we come down to the topic or clause of compensation. So compensation is pretty much how the money is going to be split between you, the artist, and the manager. So usually sometimes it'll be a 20-80 split. 80% to the artist, 20% to the manager. Sometimes it could be more, sometimes it could be less, depending on what agreement you guys have set in place. Now, the manager, realize that everything that you make off of your music, the manager gets is 20% off of. The only thing that's separated from that will be any costs for actual music production, like your master recordings, your performances, if you had to pay for things, that will be deducted from what is paid to the manager. Not really deducted from the manager, but that does not count towards your earnings. So pretty much it says gross monthly earnings. So pretty much all the money that you've made, not including the costs that you incurred during that month that you had to pay off for things, but the money that you actually made off of your music, you have to take off 20% or whatever agreed amount for that artist, for that manager. Now, the funny thing about this is that even if money was directed to you, well, actually, let me say this, money that you get is now directed to the manager. Since your manager is your legal, he's your legal representative, he is the one receiving the money for you, he's the one who sends money for you, whatever he collects and he sends, he does all of that for you. All the money will be going to him generally, and he can in fact take his 20% out of those earnings and hold that back and give you just what you're supposed to get out of it, the 80%, the rest. So you have to make sure that your manager is a good manager, that it's hard to really say who's good, who's bad, or who's loyal and who's not. You have to make sure that you protect yourself and know that the manager who you hired actually cares about you and is not going to steal money from you, because they will be doing things in the background that you do not know that's going on. They're going to set up things for you, and money will most likely be going to them since they're your legal representative. Them being your legal representative, they have a lot of power, which means they can make money off of you, which they are, and they could send money, they could use all these services and say that it's to help better your career. So with that being said, don't blindly trust a manager. Always know what's going on, so therefore you're not left outside in the doghouse because of the fact that you didn't want to follow up with why, you're not getting as much money that you're supposed to be getting. So yeah, just to cover that again, if you say it's 80%, 20%, 80% for the artist, 20% for the manager, most times the manager will get all the money from all the money that you earn. You'll be going to him and he will make the split. He can, if he wants, keep back his 20% and give you the rest of the earnings to you directly. Or if you get any money directed to you, it is your responsibility to do in good faith to take out the 20% and give that to the manager. So anything that you do on the side or anything that you do in music, that is your responsibility to make sure that you give the manager his 20% and vice versa. So you have to have a good relationship with your manager. If you guys don't have a good relationship, if you're not talking, if you're not close, then it's not going to work out for you. You might as well just be independent. Okay, so in this clause, we're going to talk about accounting. So pretty much accounting is where the manager is going to keep the books. He's going to make sure that the money's going where it's supposed to go, make sure he's getting his cut, make sure you're getting your cut. It's a responsibility of the manager to make sure that the money is going where it's supposed to and that no one is messing up. No one is cutting corners, everything is squared up. Pretty much he's supposed to do this no later than the end of each month. So each month you're supposed to get a statement written up, knowing exactly what was spent where, knowing what was payable to the artist, knowing what was payable to the manager, and all of these things. So pretty much it's a money trail, tracking it from the beginning to the end. Each month, this is what you should be getting, unless you have a contract that says something different. But these are just things that you can see in the contract sometimes. If not, it'll be a little different, it'll be worded a little different, time frames will be different, but make sure that you know. Make sure that you know what's going on, make sure the manager is going to give you statements, let you know what he's doing and where the money's going and where it started, where it is now, where it's going. That's stuff that you have to know in order for you to make as much money as possible off of your music. Okay, in this clause you talk about expenses. So with expenses, pretty much it's the responsibility of the artist to pay all bills that come out from any services that the manager actually used. So that means if it's for tours or if it's for, I don't know, if mastering, whatever it is, whatever your services are, if the manager said you should do these services and you go ahead and do these services, you're responsible for paying that. At the end of the day, when the bills come in, you have to pay it, not the manager. Now, if the manager actually goes ahead and pays these things before you pay him and he says he's going to do it for you, then it's your responsibility to refund or pay, not refund, but actually pay the manager the amount that it is for those services, whatever it may be. So this is where it kind of gets a little iffy when it comes to getting a manager, because you end up spending a lot more money. They get you the right services and things like that, and they get you the right connections, but you end up losing money in a sense that you have to pay the manager every time services are being used. Or it's best that you actually control all of those things and you pay directly instead of having the manager just go ahead and prematurely getting all these things. Make sure that you know, as I say for each clause, make sure that you know if you're going to be the one responsible for getting services, paying them, and making sure that you know where the money's going, so that way you can pay the correct bills. Or you could have the manager do it, the manager will know where he's going, it'll be faster and quicker since he doesn't have to talk to you, but then you have to make sure that he's doing things that's actually going to benefit you. So that way when you pay him back for the money that he spent on you, it's not for waste. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so here's a juicy one. This clause is going to be called, or it is called, loans. So a manager does not have to give you loans, but if a manager does go ahead and give you loans, it is the responsibility of the artist to pay back that loan as soon as possible. What the manager can do, sometimes you see this in a clause, maybe somewhere snuck in there a little bit, the manager can deduct that amount from money that you will receive for some performance that you did. So per se, if the manager loaned you $1,000 and you just did a gig and it was $1,000, the manager can deduct that $1,000 from your earnings and keep it for himself. So as stated before, as we were talking about before, remember that the manager has legal access, legal rights. He's your legal authority pretty much, or representative, sorry. And he gets access to all the money that you receive. He can spend money, he could take money, all of these things. So he knows what you're making money off of, and he can go ahead and take that money away. You can, I guess, edit this in your contract if it's there, or if you talk with the manager, let him know, or talk to a lawyer, have a lawyer go over to protect yourself. You can say that the manager has to get your approval first before deducting that money out of earnings that you get, because this would be earnings outside of his 20% cut. So you want to make sure that he's not just doing this on the whim. Again, as I said in the other one, in other clauses, just make sure that you know what's going on, so that way you're not losing out. All right, so in this clause, we're talking about termination. So pretty much if you see that the manager's not doing their side of the coin, they're not doing their side, they're not working how they're supposed to work, they're not building your career as just they promise that they'll do, you can terminate them at any time during those 3 years or the time that you agreed upon for the contract agreement. Now with that being said, now the manager, if you were to default on any of your agreements and your responsibilities based on the contract, the manager can also quit, pretty much throw the towel in if they would like, after you've given them that written letter stating that you're going to fire them or get rid of them or whatever. they can go ahead and actually quit before you do that. And I believe it's around 30 days or so prior to 30 days after receiving the notification or whatever it may be. It may be different in your clause, it may be different in your contract. So you have to look that up, talk with your manager or talk with your future manager, whoever you're thinking of doing this with, or with a lawyer, and make sure you get that covered. So just going over it again, the termination, you can terminate a manager at any given time during those years that they're working with you or the time that you agreed upon. So just make sure that you know what's going on. As I said, I believe the manager, you have to give the manager a time to actually redeem themselves if they made a mistake, if they erred in some way, shape, or form, and they defaulted on their responsibilities. You have to give them a chance to be able to recuperate and fix their problem. Or you can take that out of the clause and just say that if you do fail to follow these agreements, then you're terminated. All right, so in this clause, we're talking about assignment. What that means is assigning responsibility. So neither the artist nor the manager can assign any of their responsibilities to any other party. So if it's your responsibility as the artist to always further your career, do anything to be able to further your music career, that's in the clauses, in the contract. You have to follow what the manager says or do what is best for your music career. The same with the manager. The manager also has to follow those agreements and always care about your career, always do things that's in the best interest of your career. And if they say, oh, no, I'm gonna have someone else do it for me, and the artist says, no, I'm gonna have someone else do all that for me, it's not agreed upon. It's not something that was agreed upon in the original contract. So you can't do that. Now, it may be different in your contract, but generally this is what it will be. The reason why you want this is because you want the manager to, if he says he's gonna do something, it's gonna be him doing it. You don't know who the other person is that he's going to be given that responsibility to. So it's best that it's him doing it. Same with the artist. If you're the music artist, why would you give the responsibility to make music for you to someone else? Because then again, it's not you, which makes no sense because you hired a manager to manage you, not another artist. So that's how it works. I'm not talking about songwriting, I'm not talking about ghost writing and things like that. I'm talking about actual performances. The responsibility of the artist is to perform, do live performances, live recordings, things like that. Why would you have another artist do that for you? If you do that, then you kind of default on the agreement. But then again, it can be different in your contract. So you have to make sure that you set these contracts in place. We'll look it over and make sure that you know where you stand and how you can protect. All right, so this next clause is called a fiduciary relationship. What this means is that it is now a relationship of trust and loyalty between the trustee and the truster, I don't know. But pretty much it's between the artist and the manager. So pretty much this just states that the agreement that you're making, you're expecting that each party is going to be loyal to each other, they're going to be trustworthy, they're going to be faithful to each other and to the agreements that you both agree upon. And if any default on that, then therefore they are going against the agreement made in this contract. All right, so this is the last clause that we're going to talk about. And the name of this one is mutual responsibilities and warranties. So ultimately, in this mutual representation, all that means is that both parties are going to support each other in any situation within this agreement. So any liabilities occurred for one or the other, both parties will be in it together, they will support each other. As far as warranties, it is responsibility of the artist that during this time of the contract, it is their responsibility to do anything in their power to further their music career. And that if they kind of falter and don't follow through with that, then you kind of default on that contract agreement. So it's in the best interest of the artist to always try to do what they can to further their career, and pretty much you can't lax on that. Pretty much you can't say you want to be a music artist and you start going for professional basketball or something like that. That will make this contract void ultimately. So with that being said, I hope all of this information helped you out. I know this is a long one. It took a long time to record, but it's okay. Hopefully this is information that has helped you out, and you may have seen it before. If not, please look it up. There's a lot of information online in regards to artist management contracts. And this information is very vital because it helps you learn things that a lot of upcoming artists do not know about, and this protects you because it helps you change your mindset and your thinking, so that way you ask the right questions and therefore you do the right things. So again, this is Legendary Beatz from Legendarybeatsonline.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to comment below if you like this video, if you have any comments in regards to if this helped you out, or if you have any other topics you'd like for me to talk about. Please place that in the comments also. And hit that like button if you like this video, and also subscribe so you'll be the first to know about any new videos that I'll be posting up. Alright, so thanks so much for watching again. I'm Legendary Beatz, and I'm out.